Danny likes to start videos with facts.
This is the actual intro, by the way, you know that.
This is the intro. We're here in a video together. This is a good day. How are you feeling? You're feeling a bit ill, aren't you?
I'm feeling a little bit sick, but happy because I've got World Cup fever. That's what I'm sick with.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, you have. Seamless. So I was gonna ask Danny. He knows I'm asking him this question, so maybe he's had time to practice. What would your World Cup goal-scoring celebration face be? Oh no! Oh, there we go. The arms. The arms are important.
Yeah.
I'd definitely go for shirt over the head, which I think is frowned upon these days, and maybe have some kind of like drawing on my belly that was like, yeah!
Yeah, or you have like something dedicated to like your family or something on your shirt
or
underneath.
This one's for Danny and Landon.
Exactly that. So the video we're doing today has got nothing to do with any of that. It's called the Top 10 Scary World Cup Stories. So it's all the stories from the World Cup that aren't fun or sporty. They're kind of sad and horrific, which is why we're doing it.
Sad and horrific. Nothing can be more sadder and more horrific than being an England fan sometimes whilst watching the World Cup, though. It's pretty sad. Although we've got a feeling that this year it might be coming home. Just a sneaky suspicion. But before we get into the video, I want to know who you're supporting in this World Cup. Let me know.
Alright, starting off at number 10 now, we have North Korean torture. In 2010, a spotlight was turned on North Korea amid claims their World Cup team was tortured after their poor performance in the World Cup. According to media, the coach and players were punished by the North Korean government after they lost all 3 of their games in the tournament. Radio Free Asia reported that the whole squad, except for 2 foreign-based players, were subjected to, quote, harsh ideological criticism after their team conceded the most goals out of all 32 teams in the World Cup. Perhaps even more shocking was the claim that coach Kim Jong-un was publicly humiliated and sentenced to hard labour for their performance. FIFA sent a letter to the North Korean footballing body hoping to find out if the reports were true. Of course, with North Korea though, nothing is out in the open. Everything is always under wraps. They were no more willing to talk about the allegations than any other allegations of human rights abuse there.
Coming into number 9, we have the curse of ITV. According to British urban legends, the real reason the England squad has performed so poorly at cup tournaments is because of broadcasting rights. England famously hasn't won a World Cup since 1966, and while we may not have been champions in over 50 years, we were performing alright up until 1982, but then unfortunately we took a downturn. Why? Dodgy decision making, poor management, Beckham's temper, Rooney's nerves? Nah, ITV mate. What? Yep, that's right, people genuinely believe that since ITV won the majority of the broadcasting rights of England games, performances have nosedived because of some kind of curse. It's hard not to buy into it when you look at the cold hard stats, and if I love anything, it is cold hard stats. Since 1982, the Lions have only won 21% of World Cup games broadcast on ITV. Now that's compared with 64% of matches screened on the good old BBC. People are more than disgruntled, they're downright angry. Amelia Jones from Bristol spoke to The Sun and said ITV should be banned. They're influencing the games, the stats speak for themselves, and that they do, Amelia, that they do. Ban ITV. Ban them. Okay, all jokes aside, at number 8 we have some masked menaces. Hooligans have always been a bit of an issue when it comes to football, with some nations known for their aggressive supporters more so than others. England, they don't have a great track record abroad, for example. I have to admit that, but the group in this story seem far worse and much scarier than your classic Three Lions brute. In Poland, a football fan ran onto the pitch and tried to slit a player's throat. It seems that a group of Polish fans calling themselves Young Crew are threatening any fans that oppose their national team. In April 2018, the group posted a message on their Facebook threatening bloodshed and disruption. Now this led to many to fear for safety and spectators in Russia. In the post, they referenced a football fan who had been hacked to death with a machete in February 2018. They said, whoever's next in line, the Young Crew will cut your hands off. It isn't just the Polish Young Crew threatening to disturb the peace in Russia.
Next up at number 7 now, we have the Russian Ultras. Following on from what Rebecca just said, this is a group of ultra-fanatical Russian football fans, an extreme version of your average football hooligan. They've struck fear into the hearts of fans who travel to Russia for the World Cup, and that's exactly what they want. In the run-up to the 2018 World Cup, the Ultras pledged to unleash hell during the tournament. They've been found using social networking sites to discuss with each other how exactly to ambush and attack other fans. Although Russian football is no stranger to hooliganism, the concept of these ultras is a fairly new one. It was only in Euro 2016 that they really made a name for themselves. Reports came in of them attacking fans with hammers and iron bars. 150 of the trained members descended on Marseille, clashing with a number of English fans there. They are famous for fighting in a wall formation, running at an opposing group of fans as a flat unit to beat down their opponents with unhinged violence. Even Russian authorities acknowledged the immense danger for visitors to the country, warning that Russian ultras should be their primary concern above all other football fans and that they are not to be taken lightly. Moving on to number 6 now, we have ISIS death threats. In May 2018, less than a month before the start of Russia's World Cup, notorious terrorist group ISIS released propaganda threatening to behead Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. Among the material were pledges to attack fans and players with guns, knives and vehicles. The two famous players were pictured being pinned to the ground with their heads being hacked off in a packed football stadium. The picture was captioned, "Your blood will fill the ground." Other pictures simply said, "We will be there," in front of the World Cup logo. Instructions were revealed that encourage would-be jihadists to strike using trucks and cars. The posters even indicate a guide to the deadly points in a human body for targeting the infidels in or out of stadiums. Naturally, this isn't the first time ISIS have done this kind of thing. In the past, they have often produced threatening propaganda in the run-up to major events, hoping to incite violence and scare as many people as possible. Russian authorities worked non-stop in the run-up to the World Cup to ensure that any terror attempts were thwarted.
Coming in at number 5, this young player lost their life on the pitch during a World Cup qualifying match. We have Samuel Okwaji. Samuel was aged just 25 when he stepped out for a huge match against Angola in August 1989. Okwaji was not only a professional international footballer but also a qualified lawyer. He did not know that he had an underlying health issue when he stepped out on the pitch for a final time at the Lagos National Stadium in Sierra Leone. He was a promising player and had scored one of the fastest ever goals in the history of the African Nations Cup. During the World Cup qualifier, he collapsed in the 77th minute and died on the pitch of congestive heart failure. The autopsy revealed that he had an enlarged heart and high blood pressure, underlying health issues neither he nor his squad were aware of. The young man died in his national kit of green and white stripes, and Nigeria still honours and remembers their fallen star today. Coming into number 4, we have the sad story of the Zambian team plane disaster. This is truly heartbreaking. In one evening, the entire national team of one World Cup qualifying nation lost their lives. On the 27th of April 1933, Team Zambia was travelling to a qualifier against Senegal in Dakar. Unfortunately, the DHC-5 Buffalo plane belonging to the Zambian Air Force crashed into the Atlantic. The plane suffered an engine fire and the pilot had responded by shutting down the wrong engine in response. All 30 passengers and crew on board died when the plane crashed into the Atlantic Ocean. This all happened shortly after takeoff from Libreville in Gabon. Of the 30 people on board, 18 were football players. Other passengers included the team's coach and support staff. The African team were actually very promising. At the 1988 Seoul Olympics, they thrashed Italy 4-0 and they were eyeing up the African Cup of Nations and a spot in the 1994 World Cup tournament. Sadly, it was not to be. Zambia have since never qualified for a spot in the starting lineup.
Next up at number 3 now, we have the dog slaughter. This is the shocking story that in the run-up to the 2018 World Cup, authorities in Russia have been killing hundreds of stray dogs in an effort to clean up the image of the country. It's thought that the government wished to quietly get rid of these stray dogs by claiming they pose a public health risk. Media reported that 7 out of the 11 cities that were hosting games during the tournament ordered the dogs to be killed. A PETA activist in Berlin claimed that dog hunters received roughly $8 for every dog they either captured or killed. Now, this isn't the first time Russia has been taken to task by animal rights activists. They were also criticised by PETA for allowing a dancing bear to be made to pick up a football and pass it to a referee ahead of a Russian league game. Now, while that was out in the open, the true nature of the dog story is still being debated. According to the Washington Post, this isn't the first time Russia has been called out for stray dog culling. They say that during the Sochi Winter Olympics in 2014, one Russian company was paid nearly $30,000 by the government to cull over 1,200 stray cats and dogs. Next up at number 2 now, we have the Stampede. On October 16th, 1996, Guatemala played Costa Rica for a World Cup qualifying match. Many people wanted to come out and cheer on Guatemala as they played at home. Tragically though, the game will always be remembered for the human stampede and crush that happened, resulting in the deaths of 84 people and injuring 147 more. The 45,000 seat stadium had been filled to capacity. FIFA claimed that ticket forgers had then sold fake tickets to the event, far oversubscribing it. By the time authorities realised there were too many people there, the game was already underway. There are conflicting accounts of what exactly set off the stampede. A government spokesperson said the rush began when fans tried to flee a drunken brawl in the stands. In any case, fans then kicked down an entrance door which sent others tumbling down into the stands. As the stampede began, guards opened security gates to try and ease the crush, but it was far too late. Most of the victims died from suffocation. Some of them were even children. At the time, this was only the latest in a string of deadly crushes at football matches over the previous decade or so. Football officials around the world have since tried to make the stands and regulations a lot safer so that these disasters never happen again.
Finally, coming into number 1, we have one of the most high-profile footballing deaths of all time. It was an absolute abomination. We have Andres Escobar's murder. This is a horrifying story and one that highlights the dangers of putting yourself in the spotlight. Now, during the World Cup of 1994, Andres Escobar was a 27-year-old footballer and the top of his game as a Colombian defender. He was thrilled to be part of the 1994 Colombian team. Now, the build-up to the tournament seemed promising for Escobar and the team. They beat Argentina 5-0 in the qualifiers, and some people, including Pele, tipped them to win. In the end, they didn't make it out of the group stage. After an embarrassing loss in their opening match against Romania, the pressure was on for their second game. Next up, Colombia played host nation the United States. Now, it was always going to be a big and difficult game, and the team had already started receiving death threats from their fellow countrymen should they fail. Who can even face that kind of pressure? I know that actually I couldn't. Some of the team wanted to drop out, but they decided to be strong and face blackmail and criminal masterminds head on by continuing with their job. That's like some genuine real bravery, especially in the political and social climate of Colombia at the time. Escobar was by all means a good defender, but unfortunately in the 35th minute of the game, he let in an own goal that would not only be the nail in the coffin of Colombia's World Cup dreams, but would also seal his own fate. Despite winning their final group stage game, Colombia were out and the 27-year-old returned home to Medellin. He was out at a club in the early hours of July 2nd when he was shot in the back 6 times. As the assassin shot him, he shouted "goal" after every bullet. It is thought that he was shot 6 times, as that is the number of goals the team let in, plus the own goal Escobar scored. Sadly, Escobar was 5 months away from marrying his girlfriend of 5 years. His funeral was attended by 120,000 people, and he is still remembered in the city of Medellin today with a statue that was unveiled in 2002. The incident very much tarnished the Colombian national image.
Well, that last one was pretty intense.
I know, really sad.
Yeah, I read that story when Rebecca first wrote it down, and yeah, I think that's definitely a good number 1.
It's a good number 1. Danny and I were scripting this together and he complained that I took all the good points, and I'm really sorry. But we're friends, we co-watch all the football games together. I mean, we've watched one so far, but we will be watching Sunday's game. So once again, do let us know who you are supporting for. Who's your second team if England don't make it?
Japan.
Japan,
Yeah.
That's a very good one.
Yeah. Do you see the thing of all their fans collecting all the stuff up in the stands?
No.
I just love Japan.
I love Japan too. I think that's
Yeah.
a really good one. I need to probably pick a different one to you though, so we can have some like rivalry.
Yeah.
So I'm
Japan's mine.
probably gonna go with Iceland just because I love the
underdogs. But
yeah, exactly, the underdogs.
you forget 2014 though.
I
2016.
Did not forget 2016. They beat us, so
I know.
that's why I'm backing them now. It's kind of like, oh yeah, they beat us in 2016, but you know, they went all the way with the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
Football banter. We're football mad lads, as you can see. If you like that, make sure you give the video a good thumbs up and let us know if you want more World Cup related content.
What she said. We'll see you in the next one.
We will.
Bye.
Bye.